bans against them in Game 1 from Suning.
Aibo had a very good Demacia Cup. He was probably the best Samira out of the entire tournament. So we have seen a lot of bans focus onto him. What I do want to see out of Suning this time around is to have a little bit more hard crowd control on their jungler or their mid laner at the very least. I feel like if Angel and SOFM are still doing pretty well against their counterparts, they do need something to lock down the actual kills and not rely on their support so much, which is something they really haven't shown so far. Another thing I do want to see out of Suning's draft is just to get that last pick for Bin. I think if you're on red side and you're willing to play through Bin, there's no real reason to give the counter pick to someone else. I don't want to see him blind picking champions. I want to see him be the one dominate Cube in the top side.
Yeah, you want to see that Worlds Bin. You want to see the flavor of 2020 and Bin being a top 3 top laner with his peaks. So if we see that again here, that'd be great. It could take us to a game number 3. But for Rare Adam, we're rinse and repeating these bans. It's the first pick Zoe for Fofo that gave them comfort all game long.
And this has been Fofo's bread and butter champion. There was a large part of his career where he was playing utility under Coach Sim. He was very vocal about disliking that. He preferred the carry champions. He liked the LeBlancs, the Lucians. And Zoe has been his mainstay throughout the Demacia Cup. Another champion I really want to see him play is the Yone. A lot of people have been banning this champion away from him. Hopefully, if we get a game 3, we can see that going on. But Yone has been so good against a lot of the control mages here. Now, talking about Suning's draft, I like what they're doing here. This is what we were talking about. I do think that SOFM and Angel are good enough to match Ix and Fofo, but they do need some hard crowd control. And Pantheon provides just that. We have seen Pantheons winning the series all day long right now. He has a great win rate. I think he's up to 15-3 right now in the LPL.
I think he's like 16, Clement.
16-3, so has a very, very impactful presence on the map. Good to see SOFM take that.
He's dominating the Rift right now in the LPL, so this could lead us to the game number 3, changes SOFM style, and let's see how he uses that global ulti. While for Ix, wants to go on the carry threat, they might just reverse the matchup. This time Ix is going to be picking up the Olaf.
He's a very strong champion overall, can farm exceedingly well, and again, if your bot lane doesn't have escapes, he can run down bot lanes incredibly easy. Now, this is a bit of an interesting champion that we see the Rel being hovered. I don't really think it's going to be picked in just yet. Rel is something that I consider somewhat like a Braum, so you don't really see people going for it. Now, the Xayah is another champion that, does lose out a little bit on the priority in terms of going up against Misfortune, but as we've seen in Game 1, Aibo is completely fine with this pick, so they're pretty happy to run it back again.
Just note on the Rel, we've seen a bit in the LCK more so than the LPL. It's a pick, I like that you compare it to Braum because you and I have had many conversations on how, Braum does it better. Why are we seeing Braum, etc., etc. Been played 6 times in the LCK, in the LPL. I'm just looking down. Hasn't been played too many times, so. In the end, we just see the Xayah coming through, as you mentioned. Something like the Rakan could be paired with it. Actually, Rel's not been picked whatsoever. We even saw Seraphine, so we got cute down there before we got into the chunky armor. But hey, let's come back to the ban for a quick second because it's the exact same. We literally have the exact same bans that we saw in Game 1, and Suning, they want to take away from Cube's top lane. That's fine. Put him on something like the Jace again.
Yeah, this time I do expect Rare Adam to focus more on the bottom side. Suning definitely look like they're holding on to champions to just counter out Cube in the top side. I think they learned their lesson. We're not going to see a blind pick Gnar anymore. I'd be so disappointed if we see a blind pick Gnar again. But I definitely think Rare Adam are looking for some more engage options. Oh, please,
Clement.
no.
Oh, Clement.
God, no.
And look, let's clarify. It's not about the Gnar pick itself, right? It's just seeing Bin on the blind pick top laner, and you give Cube the option to go and counter again. He's got so many options in that top lane. We just saw the Jace matchup destroy. Let's see what Rare Adam want for him.
I really don't understand why you're leaving counter pick for support. It's not like On actually plays a lot of supports. Okay, maybe that's the reason. I think I've answered my own question.
Oh, yes.
Maybe they are playing around the fact that they just don't have a lot of support options and they want On to feel as comfortable as possible. But I'm not sure playing around On is the correct answer when you have Bin. on the same roster. So this
Yeah.
is just a bit bewildering for me. And once again, we see Cube does have a counter answer in the Wukong for the top lane. We have seen this matchup quite a couple of times. Wukong, if he gets an early kill, he can actually snowball this lane quite hard. And Rare Adam, they are going to throw some engage. Hong has been doing very, very good on the engage champion so far this series. They do have a bottom side focused team composition, a lot of damage, a lot of engage coming out from that one. And in the top side, early game, Gnar has to play so damn careful because the Wukong can just fly onto your face, and early game you don't have a lot of range. Gnar has a scaling range bar, so if you fall down in the early game and you can't pick back up on that EXP, it's just so hard to play through.
So we're looking towards winning top lane here. You do talk about the poke and the advantage coming from Suning from the Syndra versus Zoe that we're seeing once again, and already the Misfortune and the Nautilus in the bottom lane. So apart from the level 1, it does feel like Suning do have an avenue this time, and especially with the Pantheon, the global pressure that can be utilized, Clement. It does feel like Suning have changed some key elements, but you're right, you know, they're structuring around filling the weakness rather than powering up the strength in Bin.
The main difference I would say Suning have this time around is that they do have a lot more crowd control on the Syndra and Pantheon combo. That will kill targets a lot easier, and it should force Fofo into thinking about bringing Cleanse into this matchup instead of just being able to run the teleport as he did last time. So we'll see if that is the case just yet. But I still don't like the way the draft sequence ended up for red side on Suning. It just feels that they're trying to play around on a little bit too much. I don't think R5 taking Nautilus is ever worth it in this meta that we're seeing right here.
Nautilus sucks in the LPL. He's 0-3, Clement.
It does suck. I just don't know what the coach idea here is. But taking a look, we do have Fofo still on the unsealed spellbook, so there's a pretty good chance that they can snowball against him.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We are running pretty heftily into game number 2 as we see the Gyos. Only just barely pull them out. All right. We do have a Wukong again. And if anyone didn't see Cube last year, Cube loved this pick. He was one of the first players to pull out the Wukong in the LPL. It was one of his most played. So he is kind of going back to comfort as well. And as you mentioned, a good matchup to run into this Gnar.
We have seen the Shy, and I believe against Zoom, go into this matchup as well. Early game, you can just freely E onto the Gnar, take his HP bar down, and if you have your jungler pathing towards the top side, it demands a response from the enemy jungler. So we're going to see a very, very similar setup as we did to game 1.
Okay, so we're heading towards the top side again. You want to see Rare Adam put the pressure on and Ike's to make an appearance up there, while for the other side, for SOFM, you know, he has strong lanes towards mid and bot, Clements. So do you try and fill in, again, that weakness if Bin's getting bullied, or do you hit these other lanes hard?
I think SOFM should be trying to hit mid first. Whatever he does, if mid goes well, they can transition to other parts of the map, and it also takes away, I would consider, the best player on Rare Adam in Fofo, try to limit his impact. So I do think that's where the main focus is going to be. It's going to be for that 2v2.
All right, so the 2v2 talked about, and already seeing in this top lane, Wukong has a very strong level 1 when he starts getting that attack speed buff. Bin kites his way back, actually hits 2 first, and is going into Mega Gnar. So Cube pays the respect, pulls back, but, you know, we will expect to see a little bit more inside of Wukong in that top lane.
And we do see Ike's actually going for a different jungle pathing this time. He's pinging out where Pantheon is on the map. But, you know, still heading towards the top side at the very end. They have their bottom lane pushing in. This is the thing about Rakan and Xayah, is that you can flip a lot of these bad matchups just because those champions have inherent synergy, have a lot more pushing power when grouped together, and that's what we're seeing onto the map right now. Also, another thing about the Gnar is that mainly we have seen the Shy trade extremely well on the Mega Gnar. As on searches for a hook, doesn't land it. The Gnar did get an extra attack speed onto the E, and it also has extended duration. So that level 3 trade incoming for Gnar has been one of those breakpoints that wasn't really there in the past, but is something we should pay attention to.
But as already you can see, you know, level 3 for Wukong feels really good as well. Gets the gap closed, runs out with the clone, and Cube's mana bar still at a very good spot as he trades with Bin again. But you already mentioned it, his big damage coming out of Bin. Cube not feeling it this time around, and as Ike's gets Scuttle, almost to lose out to SOFM and Angel, he's still just going to be farming up. Spotted out on the top side, Ike's might have to cover depending on how this goes.
A really good response from SOFM. The lane is pushed up. He doesn't want to leave his top laner out to dry. Gets the ward down, and he's able to transition into the bot lane Scuttle as well. This should force iBoy and Hong to just back out of this situation. And indeed they do. They're just going to escape from the wave. I do want to comment on the way Bin is playing this lane. He's doing incredibly well into this matchup. We do have to remember Cube took this as a counter matchup, and so did the Shy in this situation. So it's definitely been established at the LPL as this is kind of the answer. But Bin has been keeping his waves really shoved in, where he's always holding on to a 3 range minion advantage.
Yeah.
And he's able to outtrade most of what Cube is throwing at him. He's also been holding onto his Narbar at a very healthy state. The question now is, can he survive the gank?
Because he's going to have to burn a flash. Does it against the wall. Undertow connects. It's double flash from Rare Adam. First blood to Cube, and that commitment was beautiful.
Yeah, really good pathing incoming from Ike's. He actually does know where the ward was dropped by SOFM. He paths around it from the insides of Suning's own jungle and manages to get there undetected. So great job by Ike's there, finding the first blood.
That ward as well, spotting out SOFM. I know you're just talking about the vision. As SOFM moves up, Ike's knows I can back away here. It's fine. I know where SOFM is. And getting the first blood on top of that, you know, Cube getting Phage. It does feel, Clement, that, you know, now, even if the matchup was favoring Bin with his wave state, that, you know, that extra item advantage is going to push it back in Cube's favor.
It's going to be pretty difficult for Bin. He doesn't have any of his summoners, and he knows that Pantheon is still on his side of the jungle. He can definitely sense it. We see the pings going down right here. So it is going to force him to play ultra defensive in this case. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see a couple more visits up from SOFM just to make sure that they get the vision down and that he isn't going to suffer a repeat gank here.
His SOFM has flash, so he could potentially, you know, make a play on the back end of it as well. I just want to note that, you know, Zoe, every time she gets a Hextech rocket belt, it looks like a powder keg or something from GP. I don't know what the animation's doing with that, but at the very least, there's some good RNG early here from Fofo to help clear the waves, and he's maintaining within reason of CS, down by about 8 to 10 at 6 minutes in the game. So matchup working well, and you can already see, even though Suning lose first blood across the board, CS being kept up with some small leads in mid and top.
Okay, interesting play coming in right here. They do get the Drake priority because they have the counter pick in the mid lane. They have been holding on to that lead for a long time. And SOFM should be able to secure this against Hong. Hongjin's being a nuisance right here. He will have to back off. Yeah, everything goes back to normal.
All right, Clement, we know Suning are going to play slow. Doesn't matter the style of comp. We know that Suning are never going to try and force, not like what we saw in the IG game where we saw these brazen level 3, level 4 fights just to try and 50-50 it. Right now, playing around safely, and SOFM continues to go back to farming after picking up that first dragon. But Ike's knows this time, and because of the ward before, he'll start clearing this away. Bin spots him. And Angel's coming in as well. Ragnarok's available. This is 3 versus 1, but the Olaf feels pretty good in this situation. Undertow behind the Pantheon. Takes the Unleashed Power, though. SOFM gets low until Fofo jumps on in. The Paddle Star at melee range steals the flash, burns his own over the wall for the 1-for-1.
Yeah, double flash right there, and this is actually pretty bad for Bin because he has to walk around and miss out on a lot of minions. Does find the hop back into his top lane tower, so that one's going to diffuse right there. Yep. And, you know, that was actually in the end, that was actually pretty good for a good roam coming in from Bin. He does get the pincer onto the jungler.
You know what that means? You know, top lane is back to pretty much an even state, even though the CS lead that Bin had over Cube has kind of dissipated. We'll see with the plated steel caps and that kill what it contributes to and what happens with the rest of the lane. Because I think top lane right now pretty fascinating for Cube and for Bin, considering that Phage is still sitting there ready to be turned into the first mythic.
We have seen mainly just the Gore Drinker come out from Wukong, followed up by the Ravenous Hydra. So going for the sustain build against Gnar. And in the bottom lane, this is pretty interesting. This is something that...
Oh, wait a minute. Okay, bullet time used. Hung's out of there immediately. iBoy didn't burn his ulti. There was no summoners on Rare Adam's side, but Suning kind of trying to expend.
Do use the Ignite there as well, so a small win in the favor of Rare Adam.
So now what, Clement? Like, what do you want to see now? Because we're heading towards another dragon in 3 minutes. It's 9 minutes in the game, and there's been a lot of back and forth, but no full-on skirmishes outside of the picks. What is the advantage Rare Adam can play through as they start this Herald, and how does the rest of the early game go?
So I think that both sides have tried to angle for some lane domination, but neither has been able to really close out on it. I honestly feel like this is a situation where the first gank is kind of gonna break open the entire map and decide how these Drake fights are going to end up. So this Herald is extremely important when both sides are sort of stalemated. The first punch is going to decide a lot of things.
And Suning do punch first. I mean, Ix has to burn the ulti, runs through, and Hung just goes out to die, maybe to save his jungler. It is a kill and a flash burnt for the sake of Herald.
But all 5 members do rotate over there, and we do see iBoy getting a little bit back for the sacrifices of his support. Does get a extra turret plating, and as you mentioned, the Herald does go over to Rare Adam. I do want to see something happen in the bottom side. I think for the top lane, Cube actually has not been able to establish his advantage on this counter pick. Maybe it's time to go for something else. And also to mention, a reason that Cube does like this Wukong is that outside of the laning phase, he's actually still very, very useful in the team fights. We have seen a lot of good flanks coming out from Cube. He's definitely someone that knows how to play this one. So, you know, if the top lane isn't working out, maybe get something going on the bottom side for Rare Adam.
A champion that can definitely create space for the Zoe and, you know, keep targets off of iBoy too. So there's definitely team fighting potential that we can talk about as we get into mid to late game for this Rare Adam if we get there without major discrepancies. At the moment, we're still in this laning phase. We're still in this kind of lulling state where after the pick off of the Herald, we got a minute until the next dragon. This one being an Ocean. We'll see who wants to give this up because no other time is aligned. Teleport's coming in. And you can see already, Rare Adam are committing to taking this objective.
They've had priority the entire way into the bottom side of the map, so they definitely want to utilize that. Their current situation is they should try to fork mid. You see the vision being established right here. That's going to be very helpful for Zoe poke.
Yep.
And once the Herald drops, everyone is going to collapse onto the Drake. And it should create a numbers advantage where I think with Wukong coming around as well, it's actually very dangerous for Suning.
Gnar on the wall. Okay, Bin uses that ulti. Remember, guys, it should be up and available if the TP plate is made. Gnar ultimate has one of the lowest cooldowns. As you can see, it's almost to that 3/4 mark. As Dragon, 5 seconds. So you can see SOFM moving into the jungle as well, trying to clear out some of the river vision. Gets popped a little bit. But not enough damage at this point from Fofo. Still doesn't have the mythic item. Ix does though with the Gore Drinker.
Yeah, so this is a pretty interesting one. We do see someone shoved underneath tower. This should be the same thing for the mid lane. The question really is, can Suning find an angle to get crowd control down and get a good bullet time in here? Pantheon comes in.
Hang on. Skyfall flies across the rift. SOFM now low, though. The Blade Caller, when is it going to be up? iBoy pops his ulti. SOFM is so crisply low as everyone's there. Cube with a 3-man Cyclone. He's getting tugged down as well. A 1-for-1, make it 2. As Rare Adam come out ahead for now. SOFM and Wanfeng dropped. And that'll open up the dragon in hindsight.
That's a massive win for Rare Adam. I like the play coming in, but you have to factor in you're going up against a Xayah. It's very hard to tag a stun onto her. And Rare Adam's bottom lane actually walks away free without expending any of their flashes.
Yeah.
This means that they're just actually going to run it again into the next team fight. Not really what I wanted to see out of Suning. I felt like they had a better chance and a decent opportunity if they went in last to the Dragon Pit. If they could get Rare Adam to over focus onto that one. They had a very good wombo combo. They had a lot of stun coming in from Bin as well. So they tried to play it the risky way, and they got completely punished for it.
I think it's funny as well because 3 minutes before you mentioned Cube has a lot of team fighting presence. That's what the Wukong pick can also add. We just saw there, he teleports in, he may sacrifice his life, but Cube did a pretty good job here, and you know, it all started from Suning.
Yeah, Rare Atom had a lot of forewarning right here. They had the wards down, so they saw Nautilus as he came through. SOFM isn't able to get any kill, and Cube pretty much 1v3 kills Huanfeng amidst the rest of his teammates. Very well done there. They had the fork in the mid lane, so they actually took the mid lane tower down to half. They get all the summoners from the bot as well. This is a massive win for Rare Atom. It pretty much means that, you know, all things equal considered, they should be able to take the next team fight as well. And that one is going to be the much more important Infernal Drake coming in.
You're going to have a bit of an item advantage here too, Clement. You know, Ocean's going to give you a bit of innate sustain. 3 minutes 30, you already mentioned that dragon. And when we have a Zoe, you know, a Wukong, we've got elements that can provide a bit of burst in the middle portion of the game. Infernal Soul is just such a great objective to play for. Now, as usual, I'm talking about the Soul who it benefits. Benefits both teams. That feels like a lot of Dragon Souls these days. But, you know, at the very least, you can talk about Rare Atom being closer with the advantage they have with the pressure, especially since we now have Mythics across their board, bar Hungs.
I'm just so confused why I'm not seeing Angel and SOFM just team up to walk into enemy jungles. They have so much damage. They have great burst potential between them.
Great 2v2, yeah.
Yeah, but they're never utilizing it, which is kind of frustrating to watch.
Engage.
There we go.
Hung, flashing away. Okay, that was the first time, but I think Angel came because SOFM was already there. At the very least, though, you burn a summoner from the Rakan to take away part of his engage. So with that down, On still going forward. And Clement, to further up your point, remember, this is a big question we asked at Worlds before that even, that Angel and SOFM were not known as the 2v2 duo. They didn't really link up that much. That was one thing that we kind of added criticism for in the past.
SOFM definitely is more of his own beast. He kind of roams around the map alone.
Oh my god.
At least he does win that one. The points go over to SOFM. He's going to be the Raptor King. No one's going to steal chickens away from him. But yeah, I agree. That was a very valid concern. It was Sword Art that started linking this team up together. And now that chain is broken, I'm just sort of confused when you draft Pantheon and Syndra. You have that CC combo. It's point and click stun and you kill someone. You just delete them off the map. And you just don't see it utilized whatsoever. So what's even the point of like picking for priority? It's not like Syndra is the greatest teamfight pick or anything. Like if this is the way that Syndra is going to be utilized, I'd actually prefer Victor, honestly.
Yeah, like we're talking about, Angel had picked 3 out of 4 games. He's played 4 games of Victor because we mentioned the counter engage, bring the fight to you and on your terms. Where this is a composition that we'd often see with a team like Top Esports, the Syndra. The Knight Caster duo playing Syndra Pantheon. That feels a lot more like them, not like a Suning pick. So there's a bit of criticism angled down, and I think it's very, very fair at this point, Mr. Chu. Especially since Suning are down in this early game once again by about 1,500 gold, 16 minutes in. They've got another dragon coming up. They are behind, if only a little, in items. And Rare Atom look like a different beast to what we see in Top Esports. They look revitalized. They look prepared. They look like they're ready to try and take down Suning.
Could be a lot of damage incoming for this team fight. We do see a lot of the mythics already coming out. Gore Drinker done for Cube and Ikes. So at this point, Suning can't really take care of their front line. It's going to be very difficult to actually kill either member. And there's also crowd control incoming from Hong too. So I just question how Suning is actually going to take this one. They do have that Ignite, so maybe they can focus down the Olaf as he comes in, but they're definitely not going to be able to kill both targets here.
But Clement, just realized that Ikes is also a level ahead. So, you know, we talk about killing Ikes, but now has level 2 on the Ragnarok. He still has that Herald to bait out and set up for the Dragon play or transfer some gold in the objectives. He's going to use it now. That's a good engage from On, and actually, even with the level advantage, taking away Olaf's ulti is a good start.
Cube is incoming before Bin is even making a move on the map. They both have their teleports, but this is basically going to force the situation once more. They're going to have the flank go down. It's going to be a 5v4 in the river, and Bin still has to find a place to teleport to.
Good paddle start, bursts out Angel bit. The Herald as well gets the charge, and goes down with the turret as well. Bin still sitting here, teleport coming in. He's into Mega. The bar whittling down as Rare Adams start the objective. Bin over the wall, but he's so far away. Ike slows down. Remember, Ragnarok is still not up and available if he gets pulled in. Battlestar connects as well. iBoy in a very weird position, but the smite disadvantage doesn't matter. SOFM gets it. The engage in onto the backline from Hung. The fight with bullet time laid up, but Cube interrupts it. The Wukong doing so much with Gore Drinker. He heals up, and SOFM not willing to go back in, but snipes him at the end of the play. Ike's wanted to snipe himself, but Bin manages to live and get away while into the ultimate to disappear. Cool guys don't look at their teams exploding while Suning manages steal.
SOFM with the "my job is done" here, and he just flashes out of the situation. He got the Drake at the very least, so it wasn't all for naught. But in that team fight, you could definitely see what I was pointing out. It's so hard for the composition right now for Suning when they don't have any natural grievous wounds to take down the front line of Rare Adam. And I actually thought Angel did a pretty good job at stopping the back line from Rare Adam at going on into that team fight. But you could see right there that they still had so many problems just getting Ikes and getting Cube low here. It is overall still a win for Suning as they do find the kill onto the top lane and they get the Drake as well. So still pretty well done on their part, but this is what they're dealing with, a front line that just won't die, and they should consider themselves lucky that they got 4 low health members away.
I was going to say, you know, almost dies here on the Pantheon at half health. There was a blinking health bar for Bin. We came back to live, and I think Hung almost got caught out. That's what we're seeing in the bottom left-hand corner of our screen. But Suning are super lucky they didn't lose 2 more, especially in the support and top. That fight came close, but the steal makes it worth. You're right, it is beneficial for Suning, all things considered. 2K gold lead's still there, though, Clement. That's my skepticism. With Baron up and available, another misplay could lead to something like Baron being stolen, being started, and the lead for Rare Adam evolving even further.
Sitting on a pretty good 2K advantage. This time they do have the mid lane tower down as well. Yep. And also an interesting pickup coming in from Hong. We're actually going to see the Shirelia's Battle Song buffed on 11.1 to give 60% movement speed for the rest of your allies. Just imagine that Wukong going in for Huanfeng.
Yeah. You know, also, like, think about iBoy, right? You know, the carry potential to flash forward. The movement speed is massive, and that extra 20% we're going to be seeing in the plays. I also want you to look, Clement, while we are talking items, that we have a Horizon focus for Fofo as the second item. So the burst potential for this Zoe now reaches a huge ultimatum in the next fight. Something that can't be hit. You cannot be hit by that if you're Huanfeng or Angel. Otherwise, it feels like the fight is just done before it started.
Do 10% extra damage if you land a skill shot beyond 750 range, or if you are able to land a crowd control. So a lot of extra damage going to be pouring out of Fofo, and a fed Zoe is always something that everyone fears. I know the Zoe copy pastas are going to go on in chat right now.
Love it.
That's what you're all here for. I know you guys too well.
Dude, I was going to prompt it at some point. You know me, so well done. This is why we cast so well together.
I know your tricks. They're great tricks, by the way.
Yeah, dude. We're both trolls, don't worry. Minions? Gonna win the top lane turret? Almost. Trying to hit that away is Fofo. Let's watch. Horizon focus there, and there you go. Burst time on becomes off. Fofo gets a big pick, and Rare Adam get another.
Oh, that positioning from Hong was so sweet. He actually walks ahead of the Nautilus, blocks the Q from going out, and they get the 5v4.
Okay, Trouble Bubble lands once again onto the Pantheon on Fofo and doesn't launch the paddle start. Level 14, Zoe now has 3 kills, and Baron was started up until Angel showed himself. They don't want to risk it, they don't have to. And Rare Adam just walk away. That wasn't the quickness, that was the Shirelias to move to the mid lane. Angel loses the Banshees, and this mid wave will actually be defend with Scatter the Weak trying to get a pick on the back end.
Yeah, all they really need here is just to make sure they pull Bin away from the bot lane. They're going to get the unanswered top lane tower here. Still a lot of time to reset and come into this Drake fight. Now, taking stock at the items and the summoners right here, they're actually pretty even along both of these, and we do see 2 items from both of the mid laners and the kind of like the AD carries. So a lot of this is going to come down to just setup, and if Suning can actually avoid the wrath of Fofo. Because around these dragon fights, that's always the most daunting task, is walking around, Zoe stuns.
We just saw iBoy having to use the Featherstorm to run away. It was Suning grouping up at a bush as a 3-man, but the follow-up from Fofo gets the Banshees. Otherwise, it would have been a huge chunk of burst. Clement, that dragon, about to spawn too. So Rare Atom moving into position. And Fofo, lucky he's on the blue side, has so much terrain to play with around this pit. One Trouble Bubble, one Paddle Star. Angel probably gets close to dying without that Banshee's Veil.
And you really can't take this Rare Atom team with flanks. You can't really try for a concave. With that Shirelia's Battle Song, they can't decide on which way to go. So if you're trying to sandwich them, they will just take the other side of your sandwich and run away with it. I like the idea from Q, but he is sitting on a ward right here.
That's right, didn't do the due diligence, comes in over the wall into the pit. Dragon at 3k, priorities there, they turn for the fight. Hunger's ulted as well with the quickness, but hasn't set up the engage. Bullet time lines down the middle, but no one's there. Angel using the unleashed power, his scatter of the week, legendary, but the damage already done. You know this fight's in the bin. And to speak of, Angel gonna follow suit. One Fong, good night. It was nice knowing you, and Rare Atom living up to the hype in this series.
That was such a 200 IQ play from Cube. They see Bin chasing after him, and they just pop over with the blast cone and go directly onto Suning without their major tank frontline. Bin was actually late to the play. He was trying to chase the Wukong a little bit too far, and the team pays the price for it.
This is just such nice gameplay to watch from Rare Atom. Again, this is only their second series, and it's week 3, day 3 of the LPL. We saw them against top eSports, but we didn't get an idea. Here against Suning, the world's finalists, they're putting on a clinic, they're putting on a showcase, and people like Fofo make the hype build up to its ultimatum. And we'll watch this again, Clement, because you said 200 IQ is here from Cube.
Yeah, Bin isn't in position. SOFM and On have to use their summoners pretty early on to get out of this. Angel has a great scatter of the week, but it's not enough. The burst has already come through. He's going to fall down to the spare axe. And look at the front line from Suning. The front line is not in front of the back line. They had that slight moment of mishap, and they just get engaged and tore open. That move really reminds me of like Alexander the Great going into Persia, you know? Just doing a front and then using the weakness in the enemy formation and just rushing in.
Didn't know you were there, Clement. You're obviously a very old man, older than Zoe.
Oh, I'm the boomer.
Yeah, well, definitely showing. I don't know what's older than boomer. I don't know what the generation before was. You're Alexander
like
the Great.
200 BC boomer or something like that.
Yeah, BC boomer. I like that a lot. Hey, Fofo, after that fight, by the way, 3 items. Zonya's Hourglass now picked up, so there's going to be a lot of time wasted with Rare Atom if they can manage to find him. But even then, the other carry in the side of iBoy has his Essence Reaver, has for a while the BF Sword there too. He's been farming up a Storm. He's got 280 CS at 26 minutes into the game. So Rare Atom hitting spikes across the board. They're up by 4,000 gold. And at 26 minutes, now threatening the Baron, Rare Atom know that Suning want to come into them.
Suning still have a very strong wombo combo, but Rare Atom are going to pull the trigger right here.
Cube's found SOFM, gets the stun, and you know what? With the spin now coming through, they wait for the Trouble Bubble to get towards the end of the duration, and down he goes. No jungler for Suning for 40 seconds, and Rare Atom can take what they want.
No smite here either. Really good use of the Shirelia Battle Song. On's going to be poking down really low. Bin's going to take damage. Rare Atom should be very comfortable in just starting up this Baron. They also have full vision of control here.
Angel, what are you doing here? Chilling smite there into Ragnarok. He's going to go down as well. He didn't pay respect, and he knew they were there. Bullet time with the dredge line. Suning are just all over the place, and now it looks like they might lose Baron.
Suning had such difficulties actually picking their fights in this one. Their only reliable engage is on, and they just haven't made any use of this Nautilus last pick whatsoever.
Goes into Troll Bubble, dredge line there. Fofo is dead though. That's big damage from One Fong. They get the Baron anyway before the Pantheon ult can fly through. One Fong here, he has no bullet time, and that's only a clone from Cube. On low, but finally we see the Starfall fly through. iBoy doesn't get the stun down. In a choke, 4 of them low. They go for with the Gale Force. But Rare Atom managed to get away. They're going to dive this, however. I'm not sure from Suning's perspective. Ike's getting low into the wall. It follows through. Suning have used Bin precisely well. Cube into his clone. It will be 2 kills immediately. And Suning managed to deny 3 Barons.
Pretty poggers on that backhand engage right there. I don't think Rare Atoms expected the chase through all the way through 2 of their own towers to find those kills. And I'm kind of wondering if it's worth it given the amount of summoners blown right here. Guanfeng has to blow his, Bin has to blow his, and they're very quickly going to have to face a situation where Rare Atom are going to come at them with a Baron push. So it's interesting. It's definitely still in favor of Suning, but there are a lot of repercussions here that they do have to play extra careful in these next Drake fights. And if we're thinking about Hong, he almost has his flash up. He has a lot of targets that he can go for, and he knows that these targets are not going to have summoners to defend themselves.
And his Shirelia's Battle Song will be up as well, so that item, that 60%, is going to be given back over the board. Now, note that iBoy only has a Feather Storm as his flash was burnt before, but Fofo's real flash is coming up as well. So the summoner discussion, Clement, interests me quite a lot considering your point. So valid here is teleport being used by Fofo, the level 16 Zoe running into battle. And Rare Atom very healthy, forcing Suning away from the river when Dragon's 10 seconds from spawning.
And still really no Grievous Wounds. Okay, we finally have a Grievous Wounds out from Misfortune, so this will help the situation against Cube and Ix. We've seen them in these past team fights. They just run in with Gore Drinkers, and they almost never die in the front line.
True.
So it has allowed Rare Atom to create a lot of space, even without tanks.
Angel with that
And
Banshees.
now Angel's actually getting poked down.
That's right. Now that the Banshee's Veil's not there, he has to be super careful. Paddlestar again. Fofo needs to land some of these. Inbat's going to Mega Nado. That's a big moment. Ike's in the pit with a level advantage on this Olaf. Ragnarok immediately going back for the Dragon. It is taken with 92 HP as the bullet time lines true. Cube goes back in again. Gore Drinker head up. Bin absorbing the pressure. His Gore Drinker is doing the exact same thing as a flash out from the wall with the Undertow, the re-engage onto SOFM. It's Cube here again. A good Paddlestar landing onto Angel and Suning. Lose no one somehow with the second time Bin surviving on next to no HP.
The Blood God is very sad about that one. That was a full-on 5v5 10-man brawl, and nobody dies because of Gore Drinkers. Honestly, I don't think the nerfs in 11.1 were enough to knock this item down.
This item's busted. Let's be quite real.
The natural synergies with champion skills probably isn't something that should exist in the game right now. The extra healing from Reckless Swing and the perfect timings. Both sides basically trade frontliners. Their frontliners take 1v4 damage. They don't even die. They both have Sterix gauges, and they just walk out fine.
You know,
Welcome to
Sterix
Season 11,
gauge
boys.
getting like improved as an item, right? As a natural healing item. Then you have the option to go for like Spirit Visage if you prefer. You can head towards the Death Dance, which we've seen a couple of times. Like, you tank up and you're unkillable. A lot of the time with Aatrox as well. His kit natively syncs with it. One of the best champions in the game. So I get you, Clement. I feel you. I understand you completely, and I understand what's going on in this game right now. While we talk about League of Gore Drinker with our jungle and tops of both teams, let's just remind our audience that RA are still ahead in this game. However, Suning are getting closer and closer with these fights. They're getting some of those core items themselves, and people like Huanfeng are becoming big boys because he's almost got 4 items to match iBoy.
So a couple crucial things that are happening around that will change the dynamics is we're going to see a lot more damage coming out from the backline at this point. The AD carries have finally scaled up to the fact that they have a very good potential of actually just wiping down Cube or
on there. Hung ulties, he flashes away, Trouble Bubble lands onto the bullet time. That only hits the clone in the end, and Fofo comes in over the wall and on. Takes another hefty chunk. Bin going into Meganar. He wants to get the ulti, he sends him back into his team, but with Ragnarok, it doesn't matter. Bin too far removed from the rest of Suning. He'll take damage from all 5 members while Cube zones him out. A 2-man Paddlestar as well, and Suning are getting absolutely destroyed. Into the GA, the range of the Paddlestar follow doesn't compute, while Angel here with a good scat of the week will survive. Only one after what was such an exciting fight, but Rare Atom win out again.
Bin tries his luck at the team fight. He feels like he found the pincer, but in fact he didn't get the wall stun onto iBoy, so he just pays with it for his life. Doesn't really get much done right there, but it's just a huge change of GAs, a huge change of summoners. taking stock at the situation, we still have Huanfeng with his flash up and available, but Angel and SOFM are going to be prime targets in this next team fight. There's a lot of burst damage on Rare Atom. If they can find Angel, if they can shut him down, this might be a pretty quick close to the Baron fight.
Because if we see that trouble bubble, if we see the paddle star follow-up land again, that's what we're kind of waiting for. The damage started here, and you mentioned Clement. Bin goes through, he sustains for a long time.
Yeah, but he doesn't find the crucial stun, so iBoy is able to put out a lot of damage. He goes down, and at this point, with Cube in a choke point, Suning had no other option but to retreat. We see multiple flashes burnt off in the back end of that one, with iBoy and Hong very crucially still holding on to theirs. So they're going to have this engage advantage coming into this. They have the members set up here already. It's really about just punishing Suning as they try and come to poke forward. There's no flashes on SOFM or on. Those are going to be the main face checkers, and we should see Fofo try to land something here.
He's teleporting from top to mid. Wants to be in position. Wasn't willing to walk down onto Huanfeng. The trouble bubble will connect. No cleanse available for him, and there's no follow-up either. I don't know what you think about that teleport. Maybe it doesn't matter in the grand schemes, but it does get him closer towards Dragon, which is their soul in 35 seconds.
Right now, Bin has to find a way to charge himself back into Mega Gnar. He's not going to be able to take this fight while in mini form, so we should see him heading maybe towards the bot lane wave to try and get some Narbar up. But in the meantime, Rare Atom see a 5v4.
If he goes there, he's going to sacrifice, and I think it's already too late. Cube knows, goes onto Huanfeng in the back line. The Wukong in a great position. Huanfeng ready with the bullet time. Flashes from Hung, though. That could be the difference as Hung dodges away from the rest of the bullet time. iBoy, meanwhile, has used a Feather Storm, and that's a Suning win of the fight so far. Cube down for On. I'll take that trade any day of the week. Has been ready to go on Mega Gnar once again. Pings are getting pushed down with low health bars. We'll continue this one around the Dragon Pit.
Too much room to maneuver for Suning. When Cube goes in, he only finds the support there, and Huanfeng standing next to him with does have to expend flash, but he does get out of it. So this is going to be a critical moment. If Rare Atom can find the steal, they don't get it.
They can't. No. Ike flashes at the back of the pit for some reason as S1FM goes gold. Cube ready to re-engage. Cyclone time, baby. Into the backline. Huanfeng kites himself away, and with the Lord Dominic's regard, he does such a good damn job. iBoy there as well, doing the same, and Fofo onto On, while meanwhile the Troll Bubble connects onto the top laner. That top laner is Bin, who manages to survive. It's one down apiece, but the Baron is secured.
That was a really good play on the part of Rare Atom. They do have a 3-level advantage over SOFM, so that Smite was actually pretty secure in his favor. However, I don't think the Cube trade onto On was necessarily that great. The left side of that team fight was covered in Suning members. No follow-up was allowed right there. So we can watch this again. A good wombo combo, great attempt, but SOFM, he's just too far behind the curve at this point, so isn't able to find the actual Smite here. And I feel like Cube probably didn't need to go all in at this point. SOFM and Bin find their way into the back line of Rare Atom, and Rare Atom just have to retreat out of this one. Again, we're going to be having to look at the Summoners. We are facing a Dragon Soul Point situation, so both sides are going to come for this one, and whoever does have the better Summoners is going to have a pretty large advantage. We do have to give that one to Suning. Angel has a flash. He can go in onto iBoy, and Bin has a flash too, so a great Mega Gnar is potentially on the cards.
I was wondering why there was so much armor shred. Huanfeng has a Mortal Reminder, and he also has a Lord Dominic's Regard. He has the double tank shredding items, so Cube and Ike's kind of in hell right now. As Huanfeng...
Yeah, Mortal Reminder doesn't give armor shred, by the way.
Oh, sorry.
Anti-heal.
Anti-heal, excuse me, grievous wounds, but... You know, old brain kicking in, but at the very least, Lord Dominic's Regard, Mortal Reminder. Thank you for that pick, Clement. I appreciate that. As the Troll Bubble coming through onto On, almost picks him off. But at the very least, with grievous wounds applied, you know, we have to start thinking, all right, the healing from Cube and Ike's mitigated their tank stats also along with that. But right now, we're waiting to see how it affects the next fight as Rare Atom are pushing in to the enemy jungle. 40 seconds till the Infernal Soul for both these teams spawns.
I think Suning should be willing to allow Rare Atom into the river first, because they actually have a pretty good wombo combo that can be executed from range. they could definitely be the second ones onto the scene. As long as Cube doesn't zone too many members away from them, they're actually pretty happy on just coming into the scene a little bit later. I love what Bin's doing here. He's holding his Gnar bar right at the edge of going into Mega Gnar, so he's going to be guaranteed to have that ultimate here. And SOFM also allows himself a chance to clear out that top side.
Bin, Mega Gnar into the wall for Cube, but you've just used the biggest ultimate as SOFM takes half his health. Trouble Bubble there. I don't know what Bin was thinking, but I think the Infernal Soul might just be gone. Secured by Rare Adam, and SOFM at half health doesn't commit to going in. Cube has the Cyclone available. Scatter the Weak on top of him as well. They poke them down. The Infernal Soul is still here, and down goes Juan Fong. Suning had a chance to bring back this game, but that was just the worst play that I've seen in this series.
Yeah, that was a bit of a head scratcher incoming from Bin. He doesn't get anything out of his ultimate, and Suning a little bit slow onto the rotation.
That was just horrible. 4 dead, and what an anticlimactic way to end the series, Clement, because without Baron, they're going to run it through mid.
Suning did have the summoner's advantage, but they played the last team fight absolutely horridly. Congratulations to Rare Adam. They get a great comeback game after their top esports series, and they're just going to close this one down in style.
That they are. Rare Adam, at the very least, to be positive. A 2-0 against Suning after losing to top esports shows us this team is definitely in the upper echelon. They played both these games very cleanly and, you know, towards the end, tested by Suning, but had the better mechanics, had the better team fighting, had the better coordination throughout the day.
I just have so many questions after this series. I honestly don't understand the Suning draft. I don't think it makes a lot of sense to blind pick Gnar when you've already seen counter picks coming out from Cube. I don't understand why you're last picking support in this situation when, let's be honest, the last pick Nautilus didn't do anything, and it's going to continue a 0-4 trend in the LPL. And I just don't understand why you're not utilizing what you drafted for, which is a very strong mid jungle. We've almost never seen them roam together whatsoever, even though they have a point and click kill button on that duo. So
strong lane, right? Like, this is one of the qualms we had in game where we've never seen Suning do this because SOFM and Angel don't really link up. They don't really play through mid 2v2. They play through, you know, some of the individual prowess plus the power of SOFM taking over the games themselves.
It just feels like to me that Suning have all these great players. They have a great draft strategy that they could employ.